If we look at what Donald Trump has said about Mexico, from the wall and Mexico paying for it, to his description of the Mexicans arriving in America as not their best, and I quote, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, you might be able to guess the reaction of many Mexicans to their president inviting Donald Trump to visit him in Mexico. Rafael Romo covered the meeting for CNN. I asked him what the Mexican people think about all of this.
Well, let me tell you, John, there's a lot of very furious people. There's a lot of outrage in Mexico on social media and also on the streets. There was a protest at the Angel of Independence monument on the iconic Reforma Avenue, where a lot of people congregated there. And some of the things that caught my eye, people holding banners that said Trump out of Mexico, but they also said Peña Nieto fuera, Peña Nieto out with you as well. And not only in social media, but I have never seen Mexican columnists from both the right and the left get together to denounce the same thing, and that's exactly what happened today. There was also a Mexican legislator who said that the president's act of inviting Donald Trump to Mexican soil, and not only that, but to the Mexican presidential mansion nonetheless, should be considered as an act of treason to the motherland. So it's just unbelievable. There was also this movement by opposition legislators in the Mexican Congress who were trying to pass a motion declaring Donald Trump persona non grata. And so a lot of reaction like that, where people were offended, indignant that the Mexican president would invite Donald Trump to Mexico after everything he said.
Which doesn't surprise me terribly much at all. Can we attempt, even remotely, to get some clarity around this wall? If it is built, will Mexico pay a single dollar towards it?
Not if you believe Mexican officials, but let me say this before I said anything else. We're talking about a 2,000-mile border along Mexico and the United States. There are very remote areas, rugged places, where it would be virtually impossible to build a wall. There's a question of what do you do where the Rio Grande is located, the river that the Mexicans call the Rio Bravo. And so that's one issue alone. The other issue is even if you got Mexico to pay for all of it or a portion of it, we're talking about the most significant investment or expenditure that anybody has made in the history of mankind. Probably, you're talking about something that would be tantamount to building the Great Wall of China, and who's going to do that? Having said that, one of the possibilities that Donald Trump mentioned in the past was to confiscate a portion of the anywhere from $20 billion to $25 billion that Mexicans, legal and otherwise, send from the United States to their relatives and loved ones in Mexico. Just to give you an idea, this year, remittances from the United States to Mexico was the number one source of revenue, more than oil, more than tourism. So it's a very significant amount of money. But when you talk about confiscating money from people, legally, I don't know how anybody could do something like that. The current laws in the United States strongly prevent it and prohibit it, and you'd have to go against the Constitution, you would have to go against local laws, you would have to go against a number of things before anybody could do that, John.
Rafael Romo, who is the CNN correspondent who covered this meeting for the cable TV network. After 6, we're going to talk to a CNBC correspondent who says, look, whatever you think of Trump and whatever the Mexicans think of them, and clearly it's not very much, being seen with the Mexican president is a major victory for Trump in terms of his presidential campaign.